Has being honest ever seemed to do more bad for you than good? At times, good character, or what is thought to be good character, leads to a worse situation for a person than before. The scales of justice don't always seem to be balanced in real life, especially when dealing with people bent on finding a perpetrator, bent on finding someone who did something wrong. As a teenager, I personally discovered that at times a person is punished for something that they didn't truly deserve. As most people experience some point in their life, this was kind of a shaping experience for me. For just as Charles Dickens said, circumstances may accumulate so strongly that even against an innocent man, that directed, sharpened, and pointed, they may slay. I'll explain this situation I was in, my experience, so that you can better understand. When I was only 15 or 16 years old, it was time that I got my own job. My parents had been working from the time they were 12 or 13 years old, and they thought, Jesse really needs to get a job and hurry up on growing up so he can pay for stuff for school, for food, for the other things he needs money for, maybe get a car at some point. So I had searched all over in my town for classroom. I searched in the grocery stores, I searched in the restaurants, through fast food, anything I could find. And I had finally found my first job. It's at a place called writing. I had all kinds of different duties. But my main duty was as a cashier. So one day, I had been working there for a few months, and it was in the month of December. It was very cold and gray and rainy. It wasn't the greatest day I've ever experienced, and I was feeling kind of tired and not that good. I hadn't eaten breakfast, so I showed up at work about 7 a.m. in the morning to get things ready and open, but I hadn't even eaten, so my stomach was growling. I was hungry, kind of grumpy, but it was my first job, and I had to work hard. So I started going around doing my usual duties and jobs. I started first by opening the doors, turning on the lights, sweeping and cleaning the floors, and I went around the whole store making sure everything was okay. After helping a couple customers, my stomach continued to grumble and rumble, and I was so hungry. And as I was sweeping, I started noticing there was something lay on the ground. So, uh-oh, something's on the ground, it might be broken, I need to go check what it is. Easter had just happened. We were selling all these different candies because they were on sale afterwards. And I noticed on the ground there was a bag of candy chocolate eggs. And the top of it was ripped open. It had broken. And there was candy on the ground, so it was kind of a mess. So I sweeped some, and I picked up the candy. Every time there's broken something, it doesn't matter if it's a toothbrush or a bag of candy or chips, whatever it is, you have to take it and go and throw it away. So, for my job, of course, I picked up the candy, and as I was walking back, I started to notice how tasty the candy looked. Chocolate eggs, and I hadn't eaten breakfast. I was so hungry. I bet the sugar would taste so good in my mouth. And I was just throwing away the bag, right? It was going to go for no good at all if I just tossed it, so I took a piece and ate it. Then threw it in the bag and wrote that it was damaged, and went back to work. Later in the afternoon, though, I didn't know that an investigator was going to be coming in to my store that I worked at. The investigator was a big man with a deep voice, and he was very serious because a situation happened where $100 went missing out of one of the cash registers. So being the person working there that day, he called me in to discuss with him, and he sat me roughly in a chair and said, "Excuse me, Mr. Harper, I have a few questions for you regarding your work ethic and also the situation we've had here. At Rite Aid, there's $100 missing. Do you know anything about that?" Of course, I said, "No, I don't know anything about that. I haven't touched any money. I was working under a manager." I said, "Okay." So then he asked me some more questions, bugging me, pursuing me, making me sweat because I was starting to get nervous, and he asked me the last question. "Okay, before you leave, Mr. Hart, Is there anything you have ever done that might have not been okay at this job? And I thought about candy eggs that I'd eaten. Maybe you're not supposed to eat something that's going in the damage pile, I thought. So, figuring I should be honest, I just mentioned, yeah, when I was throwing away a bag of broken candy, I ate a chocolate egg. I'm not sure if that's okay or not. And he looked at me with a serious face, as if he had just heard that I committed a murder. He said, all right, Mr. Hart, I'm going to be talking to your supervisors. Maybe you can go home for the afternoon, not finish your shift, and you'll receive a call in the afternoon. I said, okay. I was a little nervous, but hey, I got the free day off, so that was nice. So I went home, talked to my parents about the situation, and waited, and as the phone began to ring, my stomach jumped and I was really nervous. Uh-oh. I wonder if they're calling. Hopefully it's just not a big deal. Hopefully they're just going to call and tell me that the money was taken by someone else. But it was my supervisor, in a sad, sullen voice she said, I'm sorry, Jesse, but we're going to have to let you go. You're on account for stealing from the store, so we're going to have to fire you. It's been good having you there. Hopefully you can find another job. And hung up. Well, you see, I talked to my parents and I was upset and angry because I got fired for something I thought I was doing right, which is being honest about a small thing. But even though I was performing my duties on my job and I was trying my best to be honest at work, it seems that sometimes things don't work out the way you plan. It didn't really make sense that I would get fired for eating something that would be thrown in the trash. But after being interrogated and let loose on my job, I found that in reality, I was being blessed because of the better situation it ended up putting me in. Many times we feel that we're treated unjustly in situations. That if we actually wait patiently through, we may find a blessing in disguise. In Isaiah 55:8 says, God claims, my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither your ways my ways. In this we can be confident that God is working behind the scenes in a way that we did not understand, because I ended up right afterwards getting a much better job with better pay that I enjoyed more. So sometimes things don't work out justly, but God's working behind it. Thank you.